Money's scary.
I see a lot of people struggling with how to manage their money.
They aren't keeping track of how much money is coming in and how much is going out.
Most kids don't know how to handle money.
I'm a big spender, not much of a saver, and I think if I had seen something modeled differently earlier, then I probably would have a different relationship with money.
I think World of Money gives them that basis, that financial literacy that they need.
World of Money is a youth financial education training institute. It operates Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:45 in July of each year.
We go in the morning, we meet with our classroom leader.
Each day is different and each day has a theme and focus. So some days we'll be talking about banking, other days we'll be talking about stocks and bonds.
I did learn a lot about credit scores,
401ks,
gaining interest on money, making your money work for you,
how to save your money,
checkings accounts and savings accounts,
and yeah, how to live a better life.
My name is William and Law. Handling money is a big responsibility, and it should be held in the hands of a responsible person.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I feel like I just graduated from business school, like real university business school.
Just having role models like that come and share their knowledge with us is one example between, learning, gaining success, and then giving back.
And it's just a straight, long line.
Also, one of the cool things that our students learn is Mandarin Chinese.
The 5 tenets of World of Money: learn, earn, save, invest, and donate.
It's helped me become more aware of how much I'm spending and how much I'm saving and how much I'm giving.
It's more about, yes, you had an opportunity to earn the money. Now, what do you do to improve the lives of those that are around you and, the future generations?
You need to give us your resources, whether that's money or your time, and that's more important than anything.
We have visited the White House about 3 times. Our Young Mogul Board of Directors joined me as I testified on Capitol Hill to talk to Congress about financial education. We've opened or closed the NASDAQ Stock Exchange 4 times. We were on CNBC, we have been on MSNBC, we have appeared on ABC, NBC.
I feel like financial literacy is one of the key components in life. No matter what career path you choose, you will definitely have to encounter finance or any type of financial components in your life, such as, whenever you're making your first purchase for your home, which was discussed during the workshops.
Moguls and young moguls, I dare you to become financially successful.
Miss Lamb grooms us to be ambitious, and I think that the tools that she gives us at World of Money are helpful in making sure that those ambitions can be sustained.
After becoming a billionaire, I will invest my money in charities to build schools worldwide that will teach finance.
It's an amazing program. It's done so much more than just teach me about money. It's taught me about being professional, about working hard, about success.
It's worth the time and worth the energy, and I think that your children one day will thank you for it.
Can you envision a world where you and your family in America and those who immigrated from Africa and the Caribbean could receive immersive financial education and invest in fractional and whole shares of U.S. publicly traded companies? That time has come. Wakeza. Finally, from your mobile phone, you can start investing in building wealth. Wakeza. Just sign up for the Wakeza app and join the Wakeza community to receive ongoing adult and youth financial education from licensed advisors. Wakeza. You become a financially educated and protected investor. Wakeza has one empowering objective: creating financial inclusion and your family's generational wealth for the African diaspora. Wakeza.
And hello and welcome to Planet Wakeza, where money
wealth, business is your culture. I'm your host, Sabrina Lamb, the founder and CEO of Wakiza, which provides family financial education in multiple languages and financial services. I'm also the CEO of worldofmoney.org, the leading provider of immersive financial education for ages 7 to 18. Today, I am joined by Sonia Alleyne. She is a master in communications as well as business. Bringing her to the stage right now, as well as career strategist. She is the author of the groundbreaking I Kick Ass at Work and a co-founder of Storytellers Magic. Sonia empowers professionals as well as organizations to create opportunities and craft compelling narratives about themselves. Sonia was a press secretary and director of public information for the New York City Department of Finance and editorial director at Black Enterprise and the founding editorial director of their Women of Power Summit. At BE, she broke several exclusive cover stories, including those on Oprah Winfrey, Ursula Burns, and Black and Gay in Corporate America, which she won a GLAAD award. Sonia's latest work, the Storytelling Business Journal, offers a blueprint for you for authentic business storytelling. Welcome, Sonia Alleyne, to Planet Wakiza.
Yay. Thank you, Sabrina.
You're very welcome. So let's get right into it. Sonia, in your experience, your professional experience, what are the key elements that make a business or your professional story truly compelling and memorable?
Oh, that's a good question. The first of all is knowing what story you want to tell. And so that is a big challenge with folks because oftentimes people aren't sure what they want to do. They might be sure of the business that they're creating, or they may be sure of the job that they're going after, but they don't know how to present themselves. All right. And for business, what's really important is consistency, right? Because consistency is what makes a story make sense, right? Too often in local businesses, right, you may have an encounter with the owner, and then you may have an encounter with a partner or an intern or a cousin who came to help and support. But when your story is not consistent, it's hard for people to understand what you're trying to get across. And it's the same for a professional. You want to be able to show up in a consistent manner. So, because what I like to say is people have brands, whether they know it or not, and whether they like it or not. And so however you show up and however I receive you showing up is the brand that I'm creating in my head.
We'll talk about that a little bit more, because I think I hear you say that particularly how we express ourselves publicly, that is our story.
Oh, absolutely. And particularly in a time of social media, right? When everybody, as soon as we hear a name, we're Googling it, right? Or we're looking now for their tags on social media. And so whatever we see, right, is what we actually believe their story to be. And so again, everyone has a brand, whether they know it or not. Successful people, successful businesses are in control of that narrative. And so you have to decide, and it is a decision, right? You have to decide how you want to present yourself and then go about doing those things consistently in social media, in your encounters, in your follow-up, in your execution, and in, particularly for businesses, how you make customers feel. Because it doesn't matter what your business is. What matters is how I feel after I experience your business, because that's the story I'm going to share with my friends, my family, and my social media followers.
Experience your business and experience you?
Oh, of course you, right? But you are an extension of the business. So even if you have decided that this is who I represent, or this is what our business represents in whatever community, whether it's a local community or a global community, this is what we represent. I need to have that experience whether you're serving me or anyone else in your organization is serving me. What I've seen often with small businesses, particularly, are people prefer to deal with the person who's in charge, right? Because they have a different experience with that person than they would with another team member. And so the goal is for anyone who's leading a business is to make sure that you may know what your story is, right? But everyone who's working with you has to know what your story is and be as passionate about retelling it as you are.
Sonia, what is the process of identifying and refining our story? Let's say that my story was I'm on social media talking about in a negative way about other people as an adult. How can I refine and reshape that story? Because I've been on the internet acting a plumb fool and then expect a different result.
Right. Well, again, it always goes back to decision. And I remember a mentor of mine had said that where people fall down is not being decisive on what they want to do. So you have to be really clear. How do you want to be presented? Do you want to be seen as an expert? Do you want to be seen as an influencer? Do you want to be seen as whatever that is? If gossip is your thing, right? Do you want to be seen as the person who gets it right? The person who has all the right information. So it doesn't even matter how you want to portray yourself on social media. You have to know, what is it that you want people to walk away with? Like, I might say, oh, I don't really like gossip, but if I do like gossip, I need to go to Sabrina because I know she's always going to get the information right. Mm-hmm. Right. So those are the things that you need to be able to think about. So deciding who you are and how you want to show up is really important. In the book that Shay and I created, we've actually created these themes, right? These storytelling themes, which to my knowledge, we're trademarking. I've never seen this described this way for businesses or for persons, but you can decide, and we've narrowed it down to roughly like 9 themes, and we've modeled them after big businesses. Right? Whether you're looking for function are the things that you need to do. So like haircuts and cosmetics and all of those things are functional. Or is it inspirational, right? Are you trying to inspire someone? Are you trying to transform someone, right? Which is having a person be in one position and then saying your business or your service or your expertise is going to take them into another position, like personal trainers, right, are great for transformation. So you have to decide what it is the story that you are telling. I keep saying that over and over again because that's what's important. You have to decide what it is in your mind and in your heart, and then start now creating a process for how you're going to execute those things.
And what if you believe that you don't have a particularly interesting story, or you don't feel that your life is extraordinary when it really is? But what would you say to our listeners who maybe feel that way?
Right. So what we say is all of our stories matter, right? And everything that you bring is a unique set of experiences and personality and upbringing and culture, all of those things. It's why we talk about in corporate America, bringing your authentic self. The purpose of bringing your authentic self is so that you get the benefit of experience, right? So if you grew up in poverty, if you were a child of foster care, if you are an immigrant, right? If you are an only child, right? All of those things bring unique perspectives to how you show up in the workplace and to the services that you are offering if you are a business person. So always lead with your story, because stories are also inspiring. They're always inspiring, right? So if I am someone who came out of foster care, and I have a very dear friend who grew up in foster care and now runs a very successful business. And she's done stories on business stories, the lessons I've learned from foster care. She's had people in tears when she's presented those stories, right? But they've also been inspiring to other persons, right? So the person who was also in foster care, who's sitting thinking, I hate my life, I didn't have the opportunities that I needed, gets to see this person and say, wow, like if she did it, we have a similar path, I can do it as well. So stories are really important for that piece as well, to inspire others to see that they can do things.
In the Storytelling Business Journal, you provide a step-by-step guide for creating effective and authentic stories. Can you share one or two strategies from the book that readers have found especially transformative?
Right. So the very first one, I'm going to repeat again, is decide, right? And when you're deciding, the four foundational questions that you should be reviewing are who you are, what you do, why you do it, and for whom. Those are the four foundational questions that you need to be able to be clear about. And so they may sound really simple, right? Who you are, what you do, why you do it, and for whom. Like that sounds really easy. But what we've seen is there are so many disconnects with how an owner may operate based on those four criteria and other people who are working with them, how they operate. And so that has to be clear and outlined. The other thing are the storytelling themes, which we're really excited about because it gets people to look at their value, right? I always say people don't, well, it's not just me who says it, people don't buy your products and services, they buy the value, right? They buy what your products and services do for you. And so it's really important for you to be clear on, you may own a beauty salon, right? And so there are tons of people who own beauty salons, but what is the value, right? Do I not have to wait? Do you get me in and out? Are you by appointment? Are you a great colorist? Do you make me feel renewed? Is the environment something that makes me feel pampered? Like all of these things go into what will make you unique. What is your value? And the other thing we tell readers and clients is be clear about the experience you want your customers to walk away with, right? How do you want, and we literally ask this question, how do you want your customers to feel? We know they're coming in for a haircut. We know they're coming in for a spa appointment. We know they're coming in for herbs, but how do you want them to feel during that experience and when they leave that experience? How do you want people to come into your store? And so the other thing we do, the third one, is we teach you how to operationalize your story, which again is very important because you want customers to have a consistent experience every single time they encounter your brand, whether it's in social media, whether it's a complaint, right? Or whether I am doing e-commerce or if I walk into your brick and mortar. The experience should always be the same.
That's exactly right. Storytelling is a powerful tool for brand building, for self-inventory, but engaging with others. I absolutely agree. From your work with Storytellers Magic, Sonia Alleyne, what common mistakes do you see organizations make in their storytelling efforts, and how can they avoid those mistakes?
Yeah, assuming everybody is on the same page. Right. And so one of the stories that I like to tell is there's an African restaurant that and that I frequent regularly. So for your listeners, I live in Brooklyn. So it's a bit of a hike for a restaurant since we have tons in Brooklyn. There are tons in Manhattan on the way over. But I love the food. I love the ambiance. I love the way I'm treated when I'm in that restaurant. So, and I'd gone for many, many years. I'd taken my mom, I've taken best friends, I've done celebrations there, love the restaurant. And so when I had my first business meeting, that was where I recommended that we should have it. And unfortunately for me and the 5 people who were in attendance with me, the owner wasn't there. And it was a horrible experience. And so I knew the people that I was with, but I was the butt of jokes for the whole night because the experience was so bad, right? For me, I knew that was because the owner wasn't there. But for the other people who were with me, it's a place that they will never return, right? And so when I talked to the owner about it, again, when you have a restaurant, you just figure if I can tell the wait staff how to stand, how to take orders, how to bring the food out, that's enough. No, the wait staff has to have the same passion about the dishes, the traditions, the experience that you as the owner have, so that when you're not there, everybody gets the same experience. And so what he thinks now is I have to be there, right? I always have to be there for the restaurant to run properly. But if you train your staff and have them understand your story and be passionate about your story, then you can have long-lasting effects beyond what you would even imagine. He will never know these 5 people. He will never know what they think, and never know why they think what they think about the experience that they had at his restaurant.
The famous Maya Angelou quote, make sure I get it right. It's not what you say, no matter what you do, is how you make people feel.
Well,
so that applies to you personally, professionally, and entrepreneurially. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. People may forget what you say to them. They may forget what you do to them, but they will never forget how you've made them feel. It's absolutely true. And if more businesses, I mean, most of us are seeing, this is not going to be a surprise to you, this complete breakdown of customer service and customer care. And just fixing that piece, just caring about who comes through your doors or who is interacting with you online makes a huge difference. You know, when I worked at the Department of Finance, I always tell people we did taxes, property taxes, and parking tickets, right? The things that New Yorkers hate the most. But what we created there was a system of customer care where people would always respond, thank you, right? We love this. Or now now I can pay my taxes, or now I understand, and now I'll pay the parking ticket, right? We talked to people, we responded to people, we put things in place to let people know why these systems had to exist. And so what we've also found is compliance is increased when you increase customer care and customer service. When people understand why they have to pay even a fine, right? They'll do it because they have a better understanding of why it is the way it is. And that's all part of an organization's story.
That's absolutely right. At World of Money and Waukees, I can't sleep at night. I can't sleep within 30 minutes if that member, that parent is not immediately, I'm talking about within 30 minutes, if not more, immediately responded to, always getting, well, thank you so much for a quick or a prompt response. If you don't respond appropriately and promptly and quickly, that person, that customer, that parent will create their own story about you professionally as well as business-wise. Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And so it goes back to you wanting to control the narrative, and you have every opportunity to do so. But when you ignore things, or when you make excuses for things, even if you make a mistake, right? Even if you totally screw things up, if you have a process in place for how you fix errors, and everybody's on board with that, right? It's not like I shouldn't have to call the manager, right? You should be entrusted and empowered to be able to make things right. That should be part of your standard operating procedures, is how do we fix challenges and fix problems. And so even if someone walks away and says, they really screwed up my order, but let me tell you how they made it right. Let me tell you how they explained things to me. Let me tell you what they did to fix it. That makes all the difference. That makes all the difference in the world. We will pay more money if we feel like we're treated better.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's all about customer care. Customer care and your story is literally wrapped up in one. You can't really do one without the other, because like film or like literature, right? Like if you like romance movies and it's billed as a romance movie, and then you go and you find out that it's a World War II film, right? Like that's the disconnect, right? And so even if you know what your value is, if you know what it is that you want to be able to put forth, then you have to be able to be concerned about the customer, how the customer is going to feel about what this value is that you're saying that you offer.
We're with Sonia Alleyne, who's a master in communications, business, and career strategist. She's the author of the groundbreaking I Kick Ass at Work and co-founder of Storytellers Magic. Sonia, so there are so many social media platforms that people are leveraging, that are using personally, professionally, organizations, corporations. How do you which platform is the most effective conveyor of your story?
Yeah, and so sometimes people feel like they need to be on all of them. You should be on the ones that you can manage and the ones that seem to reach the audience that you are interested in. So professionals, I tell all the time, they should be on LinkedIn. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing that there's a lot more engagement. There's a lot more migration to the LinkedIn platform. And it should be your place for business as well. I think it's a great platform where you can really talk about your expertise. What I like about LinkedIn, and this is not everybody, but usually the content you get is well thought out. And it's not just opinion based. It's based on experience. It's based on research. It's based on professional ideals.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do the same thing on any other platform, but be very clear about the information that you are offering. What I also suggest to people is not to tease information. That was an old sales strategy where you just give people a carrot and then they hope that that carrot is going to bring them in for more information. Now everything is a Google click away, right? So if I feel like you're dragging me along, or if you're not giving me the information that you say you can give me, or you're just giving me a bite, I can just Google based on the premise that you've presented, and I can probably find a lot of detail information on what you're teasing. So be very deliberate, again, about the information that you're offering. A lot of old sales tactics that used to work before when you didn't have a lot of options, right? Like if you watched a commercial and someone said, I'm the one, then that might have been the only person, right? And you would have taken a chance on that. Now, if you come on social media and you say, I'm the one, and I will help you find X, Y, and Z, if you're not really telling me how you're going to do it, I can actually find someone else or the information I need for free. Like there's so much. And with AI, that's probably going to make it even that much easier to find information that's being teased.
So can you drill down a little bit more? Give us another example, or an example of that. Absolutely. A tease, and then
right. Someone may say, here are 4 ways to lose stubborn belly fat, right? And we see that because there's a lot of health stuff. I'm always concerned with health. Here are 4 ways to lose belly fat. And then they go on these long stories and they'll tell you about how they lost it and they didn't think they could lose it and how difficult it could be. And it's really, and they'll give you this whole thing to get you engaged, right? The storytelling a lot of time is compelling. Then you have to sign up for something, right? And then because I've signed up for some of these things, you sign up for it and they give you the basic information. Well, you should eat less, right? And work out more. All right. Well, and that's the tease, right? Because they don't want to really they don't want to give away the information. Well, now if I do a Google search on how to lose belly fat, right? There will be we all know this. There will be tons of information from people who will give you the science, who will give you all the new data, all the new research, and will put together a program for you for free online. Right? So you have to know, like, what can you actually, sometimes people think that, I can't give it away because then what will people pay for, right? But if you are consistently giving information, if you're consistently showing people how to do certain things, and you create good experiences for people, you will maintain a client base, right? And so it's a very old strategy and tactic, like, just give them a teaser and let them come back in. Or if I don't feel satisfied by the information that I get, right? Say I sign up, you get my email address, and maybe I take the program, right? If I don't feel satisfied, then that will be an issue. a friend of mine told me a strategy, and I think she might have taken this strategy from somewhere else, but it's also interesting to look at Amazon reviews or reviews in general, right? The people who love things, right, and give them 5 stars, they love it, like flaws and all, they love it, right? The people who hate it, right, who give it 1 star or no star, they absolutely hate it. But the people who give it 3 or 4 stars will usually give you the sweet spot. It was just like, yeah, it was really strong here, but I feel like they're trying to get me to buy the book. This was really good here, but it would have been better if they gave me X, Y, and Z. And so I also, if you're a big enough brand, right, where you have people reviewing your content, look at that, right? Like we love the people who love us, and we hate the people who, will give us the 1 stars, but really look at those 3 and 4 star ratings, because they will tell you a lot about how people, because they don't hate it, right? But they're giving you information. And if that information is consistent across the board, then that's something to look at.
Well, let's go back to the funnel. And because maybe there's an entrepreneur saying, okay, but at what point do we pivot so I can get some money coming in the door? So we're going back to the belly fat example. So right. Okay, so give it all away for free because people can get it someplace else. But at what point can they monetize the belly fat expertise that they believe that they have so that they can have, revenues?
Right. So if you have a really good program, you will bring people on, right? Like the goal is you have to know what your value is. It can't be fluff, right? So if all you're really doing in your program is telling people, you know what, I need you to eat less and exercise more. If that really is the gist of it, I'm going to show you some exercises and I'm going to tell you to do some calorie restrictions, then that's not transformative, because there are too many people out in the marketplace that are doing this, right? So you always have to find your unique selling proposition. What do you do differently? And so it may be guiding people through the program, right? We all know we have to eat less and exercise more, but how many of us are actually doing it, right? We all know that, right? And so there may be something in your program that really is unique that's going to really help me eat more or eat less and exercise more. Like that, it's really important for you to understand what the value is. A big example for me, or a big learning lesson for me, was I had a friend when I was just starting the course. It was before we had done the book. And I had a friend who opened up her salon and allowed me to come in and sell our course, right? And so there were about 15 people in the room. And I gave them the overview of the course, also gave them some takeaways. And 4 separate people came to me and said, when we were invited to this, we just figured that this was going to be an opportunity for you to sell the course. But you gave us so much information, I want to sign up. I gave them so much stuff that they could actually take away. Because the thing is, implementation is the biggest setback for most people, right? Mm-hmm. Most people, and so there are a couple of things, right? Number one, we always think because it's your expertise that everybody knows it, right? So if I tell them this, like, why are they going to come to me, right? But your expertise is your expertise, and the people who need you do not know it and will need you to help them and guide them through it. And so it's important for you to understand that. And it's just the age that we're in right now. Like anything I need to know, if I want to learn another language, right? If I want to consider going to another country and living, right? When I think, my parents were immigrants. When I think about every place they got up and went, they went because somebody said, we think it's okay over here, right? And they went based on that, right? Today, we don't have to talk to anybody, right? I don't have to ask you if you think Ghana is a great place for me to consider relocating. I can do all of the research on my own, like before I would have to pay somebody for that, or trust that somebody is going to give me the right information.
Trust is the underscore part of engagement. In the remaining time that we have left, how can companies, how can individuals, professionals balance the need to present a polished brand image with the desire to share their raw, authentic stories, and also balance the hesitation to being vulnerable, but particularly publicly? Some people are very good. You'll see people on social media, whatever, weeping and sharing their very raw, personal experience that they're having at that moment. Maybe there's hesitation there. Where do you land in that particular balance, Sonia Alleyne?
Well, I think we've lost what authenticity really looks like. I think we've overused the word. And so we just think tears, right? Or, big emotions, right? Can read as being authentic. And I think that there's something inside of us that understands what true authenticity is. And it requires some, time to tap into that and figure out if that's what you want to share, right? Because being authentic can come, particularly in social media, can come with a lot of backlash and criticism. And so I think sometimes you have to be ready for all of that as well. As far as companies, I think they could do so much better if they allowed more time, and some companies do this, allow more time to hear from the people on the front line, right? If they empowered the people who are really touching customers to hear what their experiences are, I think they could transform their organization. So there are a lot of companies who say, like, we are family, and, we are a team, and we want to hear from you. But if you don't have mechanisms in place or tools in place to actually hear from people. So when you're that was another big lesson we learned at the Department of Finance, right? In the ivory tower, things are operating very differently than how they're operating on ground level. You've got to have a mechanism to hear what the people who are walking in off the street, the people who are interacting with your content, the people who matter, right? You have to have a mechanism in place to hear from the team members who deal with them directly, because they have a totally different experience than the planning department in the C-suite.
Excellent. We've been joined by Sonia Alleyne, Master in Communications, Business, and a Career Strategist. She's the author of 2 best-selling books, I Kick Ass at Work, and her brand new, The Storytelling Business Journal. Sonia Alleyne, where can everyone reach you? And who are your customers, the majority of your customers?
Well, for I Kick Ass at Work, it's women who are looking to excel in the workplace, because that book teaches people to be more responsible, not to rely on the systems at work, but to be more responsible, or to take more agency around what you have control over. And for the Storytelling Business Journal, it's really for any business that wants to tell an effective story, that wants to figure out how to operationalize their story and how to determine what their value is, because that's the most important piece. You can buy both books on Amazon and where books are sold. And you can follow me. All of my socials are either Sonia Alleyne or Storytellers Magic.
We have 2 hellos from Michael Keats. Says, good afternoon. Happy blessed Thursday. And Tracy Spence says, a blessing and protection and good luck, our queens. Hotep. Amen. Ashe. Absolutely. Just repeat one more time where everyone can reach you, Sonia.
So Sonia Alleyne on SoniaAlleyne on LinkedIn. I'm not on X, but I'm on everything else, and Storytellers Magic as well. And LinkedIn is probably my preferred platform for business engagement.
Thank you. Sonia Alleyne, author and co-owner of Storytellers Magic. Sonia, thank you so much for joining us here at Planet Wakiza.
Thank you so much.